They shoved her aside so hard her shoulder hit the steel railing. Move. Out of the way. We don't have time for this. Boots thundered across the tarmac as floodlights cut through the desert night. The air vibrated with urgency, rotors whining, radios crackling, men shouting coordinates and casualty numbers over each other. Blood-stained stretchers lay near the helicopter. Waiting, she staggered once, caught herself, and said nothing. Her name was Lieutenant Ava Morgan, and at that moment, not a single person there believed she mattered. She adjusted the helmet under her arm and stepped back into the shadows, watching as the rescue team crowded around the Black Hawk. The wounded were still out there, pinned down beyond the ridge, surrounded, running out of time, that a captain barked orders. "Where's the pilot? We're burning daylight." A crew chief yelled back. "He should be here any second." Ava exhaled slowly. She stepped forward. "I'm here." No one turned. I said, "I'm here." This time a few heads snapped around. Confused. Annoyed, the captain frowned. "And you are?" "Lieutenant Morgan." "Your pilot." Laughter broke out. Not cruel, just dismissive. The kind that comes automatically when people think a mistake has been made. "Very funny," someone muttered. "Ma'am, this isn't a tour." A soldier brushed past her again, nearly knocking her helmet from her hands. "Clear the area," the captain snapped. "We need the pilot, not." Ava lifted her helmet and slid it on. The laughter stopped. She met the captain's eyes, calm and steady. "Sir, if we don't lift off in 60 seconds, the men you're trying to rescue won't survive the night." Silence. The captain studied her, really looked this time. The wings on her chest. The flight hours stitched into her sleeve. The scars on her gloves from years of hard landings. "You flew combat before?" he asked. "Yes, sir." "How many extractions under fire?" "Enough." Another explosion echoed in the distance. The captain clenched his jaw. "Get in the cockpit." She moved instantly to Ava strapped in. The helicopter felt alive beneath her hands. Familiar, steady, waiting. This was where she belonged. Not on the edge. Not in the background. The rotors spun up. Dust and debris exploded outward as the aircraft lifted. Inside the cabin, the crew exchanged uneasy glances. No one spoke. They didn't know her. They hadn't expected her. The radio crackled. "Rescue 1. Be advised. Enemy movement intensifying near your LZ." Ava responded without hesitation. "Copy." Adjusting route. She flew low, dangerously low, using terrain to mask their approach. The helicopter skimmed ridgelines, dipped into valleys, hugged shadows. Rounds cracked through the air. The aircraft shuddered. "Taking fire," someone yelled. "I see it," Ava said calmly, banking hard. She brought them in fast and rough, landing in a clearing barely big enough for skids. "Go! Go!" she shouted. The rescue team poured out. Time stretched. Every second felt like a year. Gunfire grew closer. Contact left. 2 wounded incoming. The first soldier was carried aboard, bleeding heavily. The second stumbled, nearly collapsing before hands grabbed him. "Everyone in!" Ava shouted. The moment the last man crossed the threshold, she pulled up hard, the helicopter leaping skyward as bullets chased them. Then a missile warning screamed. "Missile lock," someone yelled. Ava didn't panic. She dumped flares, cut power, rolled sharply, then slammed the throttle forward. The missile veered off. Silence. Heavy breathing filled the cabin. They made it back with fuel alarms screaming to AS. The helicopter settled onto the tarmac. No one spoke. The captain approached the cockpit slowly. "You saved every one of them," he said quietly. Ava removed her helmet. "That's the job, sir." Later that night, alone in the hangar, Ava sat on a crate and stared at the floor. She had been shoved aside. Again, like always. The morning after the rescue did not come with applause. There were no cheers on the flight line, no congratulatory handshakes waiting for her, no dramatic music swelling in the background. The desert base woke up like it always did. Dust drifting through the air, engines coughing to life, soldiers moving with tired efficiency. Lieutenant Ava Morgan walked across the tarmac alone. Her shoulder still ached where she had been shoved the night before. Her hands were raw from gripping the controls through turbulence and fire. Her eyes burned from lack of sleep, but she walked with the same steady pace she always did, helmet tucked under her arm, flight suit streaked with oil and dust. Inside the medical tent, the men she had pulled out of hell were alive. That was enough. She paused briefly outside the canvas flap, listening to voices inside. One of them laughed weakly. Another cursed at a nurse for moving too fast. The sound grounded her. It reminded her why she flew, why she endured the sideways looks, the doubts, the quiet resistance that followed her everywhere she went. She turned away before anyone saw her. By midday, the rumors had spread. Not the exaggerated kind. The quiet ones. The kind that moved from hangar to hangar, whispered between mechanics and crew chiefs. She flew that canyon like she'd memorized every inch. Did you see the fuel numbers? She brought it back on fumes. They said command ordered abort. And she ignored it. She ignored it. And everyone came back alive. Ava heard none of it directly. She never did. Praise rarely reached her ears. Criticism always did. When the summons came, it was abrupt. Lieutenant Morgan, report to briefing room 3. Immediately, she knew better than to speculate. The briefing room was full when she entered. Too full. Senior officers lined the walls. A large screen glowed at the front of the room, paused on grainy night vision footage. The helicopter. Her helicopter. She stood at attention. Lieutenant Ava Morgan reporting as ordered. A general turned slowly to face her. His eyes were sharp, calculating, old with experience. At ease, he said. She relaxed slightly, but not much. Lieutenant, he began. Do you know why you're here? No, sir. He nodded and turned to the screen. This is footage from last night's extraction. Your extraction. The video rolled. She watched herself fly from an outsider's perspective. The low approach. The terrain masking. The missile warning flaring red across the display. The violent, evasive roll. The room was silent. When the video ended, the general faced her again. You were ordered to abort. Yes, sir. You disobeyed that order. Yes, sir. A pause stretched. Why? Ava met his gaze. Because aborting would have meant leaving wounded soldiers behind, sir. And your aircraft was still flyable. And your fuel margin? Tight, sir, but sufficient. The general studied her for a long moment. Lieutenant, do you understand the consequences of disobeying a direct order? Yes, sir. And yet you chose to do so anyway. Yes, sir. Silence filled the room again. Then the general exhaled slowly. Every man you extracted survived, he said. Yes, sir. You flew in conditions most pilots would refuse. Yes, sir. You brought that helicopter back when it had no business making it home. Yes, sir. He turned to the others in the room. Dismissed. One by one, the officers filed out, leaving Ava alone with the general. That he walked closer, lowering his voice. Lieutenant Morgan, I've been in this business a long time, he said. I've seen arrogance dressed up as bravery. I've seen recklessness mistaken for courage. He stopped in front of her. What I saw last night wasn't either. She said nothing. It was judgment, he continued. And it was skill. He extended his hand. From this point forward, you are cleared for priority assignment on all high-risk extractions. Ava shook his hand once, firmly. Yes, sir. When she stepped back onto the tarmac, the air felt different. Not warmer, not kinder, but heavier. Eyes followed her now. Not dismissive, assessing, respectful. The next mission came sooner than expected. That a convoy had been ambushed in mountainous terrain. Communications were down. Enemy forces were closing in fast. Ground extraction was impossible. They needed air. They needed precision. They needed someone who could fly blind if necessary. Ava stood beside the helicopter as the crew assembled. No one shoved her aside this time. They waited. The captain approached her, hesitating briefly before speaking. I'm glad it's you, he said. She nodded. Let's bring them home. The weather was brutal. Winds tore through the valley. Clouds swallowed the moon. Night vision was nearly useless. Halfway to the LZ, the helicopter shuddered violently. Warning light, the crew chief shouted. Ava adjusted instantly, compensating without hesitation. We're good, she said. Hold tight. Enemy fire greeted them as soon as they crossed the ridge. Contact. Multiple positions. The helicopter took a hit. Alarm screamed. We're losing pressure. Ava's jaw tightened. I see it. She didn't turn back. She brought the helicopter down hard, hovering inches above uneven ground as soldiers sprinted toward them. One man was missing. Where's the last one? Someone yelled. Radio static crackled, then a weak voice. I'm pinned, can't move. Ava clenched the controls. Mark your position, she ordered. The coordinates came in. Too close to enemy lines, too dangerous. Leave me, the voice said. Get the others out. Ava shook her head, though no one could see it. Negative, she said quietly. I'm not leaving you. She shifted the helicopter sideways, drawing fire, using herself as a shield. Rounds slammed into the fuselage. The crew chief screamed for her to pull up. She didn't. The soldier ran. Hands grabbed him and dragged him aboard. The moment he crossed the threshold, the engine coughed. Once, twice, then died. Engine failure, someone shouted. Ava forced the nose down, guiding the crippled aircraft toward a flat stretch of ground. Brace! They hit hard. Metal screamed. The helicopter skidded, spun, then stopped. Silence. For a heartbeat. No one moved. Then voices erupted. We're alive. Everyone okay? Ava unstrapped and climbed out, legs shaking but steady. Medics rushed and minutes later, AS soldiers were evacuated. One of them grabbed her arm. Why didn't you leave me? He asked, voice breaking. Ava met his eyes. Because that's not who I am. Days later, she stood at a ceremony, the sun blazing overhead that a medal was pinned to her chest. For extraordinary courage under fire. Applause followed. She didn't smile. She didn't look for anyone's approval. She looked straight ahead, because she knew something now that she hadn't before. She didn't need permission to belong. She had earned her place. And somewhere, someone watching this story would understand that when they shove you aside, when they doubt you, when they underestimate you, you keep going, you fly anyway. Before this story ends, this powerful journey is brought to you by the YouTube channel, Her Brave Stripes. If stories of courage, strength, and unbreakable spirit inspire you, subscribe to Her Brave Stripes right now and tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Because bravery has many faces, and sometimes it wears a flight helmet they never expected.